12 signs you're doing everything right as a cat parent. Let's be honest. Cat parenting doesn't come with a manual. You're constantly guessing, second-guessing, and Googling things like, why does my cat bite me and then purr at 2 a.m.? But what if you're doing a lot more right than you think? In this video, we're not going to talk about the obvious stuff. No, you feed them daily gold stars here. We're digging deeper into the weird, the specific, the little things that only truly connected cat parents experience. Here are 12 signs you're doing everything right as a cat parent and didn't even know it. 1. You've become their designated silence translator. You're sitting on the couch, your cat hops up beside you, stares out the window for 5 full minutes, then slowly blinks once and leaves. No meow, no tail flick, just a moment. And weirdly, you got it. You didn't say a word, but your brain translated the whole thing. Birds are loud today. I find that mildly irritating. Also, you smell different. Did you touch another animal? If this sounds familiar, congratulations. You've moved beyond basic communication into intuitive cohabitation. You're not just reading their body language, you're syncing with it. You're the interpreter they never asked for but somehow trust. That silent exchange? That's not just a mood, it's a bond. You're doing something right when silence becomes a conversation. 2. You've stopped trying to impress them. Remember the early days? When you'd dangle toys like your life depended on it? When you'd buy the expensive tuna just for a flick of approval? You were in full PR mode, doing the feline equivalent of jazz hands. Like me, love me, validate me. Now, you don't perform, you just are. You sit on the floor eating chips, and your cat curls up beside you like, yeah, this is our vibe. No forced playtimes, no curated Instagram-worthy moments. You've dropped the act, and in doing so, gained real trust. You know you're doing something right when your cat chooses to be near you, not because you're entertaining, but because you've become part of their emotional landscape. Quiet, steady, familiar. 3. Your house has unspoken treaties. There's a chair you no longer sit in. A blanket you now accept belongs to them. The top shelf of your closet? Off limits to humans. Why? Because at some point, without realizing it, you negotiated peace treaties you never signed. You adapted your living space to accommodate a creature that doesn't speak your language, but somehow communicates veto power with a glance. You walk the long way around the room so you don't disturb their nap. You don't move the laundry because it's currently occupied. And yes, you have waited for a cat to finish sleeping on your hoodie before putting it on, because they look cozy. These aren't inconveniences. They're mutual understandings. A cohabitation contract written in paw prints and eye contact. That level of compromise? That's not just coexistence. That's emotional intelligence in action. 4. You don't take their weirdness personally. They knock over your water glass and stare at you like you offended them. They sprint through the house at 3 a.m. like they're chasing ghosts. And maybe they are. They meow into the corner like it's whispering secrets. Old you might have been confused, maybe even a little hurt. Why does she bite me and then sleep on my chest? But not anymore. You've stopped looking for logic and started respecting the mystery. You've accepted that cats aren't puzzles to solve. They're poems to interpret. You're not trying to fix their quirks. You're admiring them. The more they unravel, the more fascinating they become. That's when you know, this isn't about ownership. It's about companionship, one filled with respect, humor, and a little chaos. 5. You've seen their in-between selves. There's the version of your cat the world sees. Aloof, sleek, maybe a little judgy. Then there's the version only you get to see. The raw, unfiltered, middle-of-the-night, semi-conscious goofball that does the awkward stretch and forgets how gravity works. You've seen them roll onto their back with absolute vulnerability. You've witnessed them twitch dream while curled in a question mark shape. You've heard the half meow they do when they forget how to fully commit to a sound. You've earned access to the in-between moments. The unedited cat, not the performer. That's intimacy. Because cats don't give that version of themselves to just anyone. 6. You've learned when not to touch them. Knowing when not to pet your cat is one of the highest forms of respect in feline culture. You've mastered the art of pausing mid-reach because you saw a micro flick of their tail. You've walked past them while they're lounging and resisted the urge to boop the belly. You don't treat your cat like an interactive toy. You recognize their moods, and more importantly, you honor them. That pause, that restraint, that awareness, it's everything. It tells your cat, I see you. I hear your boundaries. I won't cross them just because I can. That kind of emotional maturity, it earns you loyalty in a way no treat ever will. You're not just loving them, you're respecting them. 7. You start trusting yourself a little more too. You stop seeking gold star validation for every little act. You begin to recognize that real love doesn't shout. It doesn't always cuddle. Sometimes it just sits nearby, blinking slowly in your direction. Your cat doesn't care what your resume says. They're not impressed by your job title or your skincare routine. They just want consistency, calm, a soft landing space in a world full of overstimulation. And when you provide that, not through perfection but through presence, you become their home. 8. You've made peace with not always being the favorite. There are days your cat walks right past you to sit with someone else, and you don't flinch, you don't pout, because deep down, you know that relationships with cats are long games, and one cozy betrayal won't break the bond. You understand that being a cat parent isn't about constant adoration, it's about trust over time. You're the one they return to after the excitement fades, the one they need when their guard is down, the one they sleep on, not because you're warm, but because you're safe. That kind of relationship, it's earned, not assigned. 9. You've built rituals without realizing it. You feed them at the same time every day, not because you have to, but because you want to. You've noticed how they stretch before jumping onto the bed, how they do the same circle 3 times before settling. You've learned to expect the chirp when you open the fridge, the paw tap when you're late to fill the bowl. These aren't just habits. They're micro-rituals, unspoken agreements that stitch your lives together, like making coffee for someone before they wake up, or remembering how they like their blanket folded. It's the small, invisible acts that make a relationship feel sacred. 10. You've forgiven them, over and over, and meant it. The shredded curtains, the plant that mysteriously fell off the shelf, the surprise vomit on your laptop keyboard the night before a big presentation. You've been tested, and still, you stayed soft. That says something. Not about your tolerance for destruction, but about your capacity for unconditional care. You don't just deal with their imperfections. You absorb them into the story. You laugh, you sigh, you clean it up and move on. You've learned to love without needing perfection in return. That's rare and beautiful. And if that's how you love your cat, imagine the quiet kindness you're capable of in the rest of your life. 11. You let them change you. And they did. Cats aren't here to adapt to you. That's not how they roll. They nudge your routines, challenge your priorities, and force you to slow down in a world that won't stop speeding up. They teach you how to pause, to observe, to find joy in ridiculous things like cardboard boxes and dust particles and sunbeams. They pull you out of your head and into the present moment, not with noise, but with presence. And if you've let them do that, if you've allowed this tiny, judgmental creature to rewire how you move through life, then you're not just doing it right. You're thriving. 12. You still wonder if you're doing enough. You worry when they sleep too long. You notice when they eat less than usual. You feel a pang of guilt when you leave the house, even if it's just for groceries. That low-key, ever-present concern, that's love, not paranoia. The fact that you care enough to doubt yourself means you haven't gone numb. You haven't become complacent. You're still trying, even when no one is watching. And that's the real secret. The best cat parents never fully know how good they are. They just keep showing up, every day, in all the tiny, unglamorous ways that make life feel a little more secure. That quiet showing up, that's everything. So, maybe no one's ever said it to you directly. Maybe your days blur together. Maybe you wonder if you're doing enough. But here's your reminder. You've taken in a creature that doesn't speak your language. One who offers no reassurance, no guarantees, no words. You learned to love them anyway. And they, in their own strange and subtle way, have learned to love you back. If that's not proof of your capability for empathy, consistency, patience, and love, then what is? You're doing it right. Curious for more insights? Discover the signs your cat thinks they're human, or learn how they show their love. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more.